Yo, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of the SWAS. Continuing on with NFL Week 12 NFC North game here. Vikings on the road in Chicago. Let's do it.
Welcome to the SWAS. The SWAS. SWAS. Hey, get the SWAS.
All right, like I said, we got Minnesota on the road in Chicago. The Bears are now catching 3.5. This one opened up at 5.5. It's been bet down. It's been sitting at 3.5 for a couple days now, though. Total sitting down at 39.5 for this one. Let's take a quick look at the pie charts, and according to the data, action's coming in slightly on the Minnesota side. Just over 55% of the tickets, about 55% of the money. As I always say, take this data with a grain of salt. So let's get into this one, and we'll start with a trend. And if you're a Chicago Bears fan, it's not the prettiest trend. The Bears have not beaten the Vikings at home in Chicago since 2019. We're talking 4 straight losses straight up and against the number, and in those games, those home games against the Vikings, 5 straight unders. So in Bears home games against the Vikings, if you've been blindly betting Minnesota and the under, you are doing quite well. You're up considerably here. So will the trend continue? Will we see another Vikings cover and another under? We'll start the matchup for the Vikings offense against the Bears defense. They're pretty evenly matched here. I mean, the Vikings are 14th in yards per play, 13th in success rate. The Bears defense 20th and 7th. What jumps out at me from this graphic are the Vikings rushing numbers. You remember the beginning of the season, it was looking like Aaron Jones was going to have this monster year. They're averaging like 200 rushing yards per game. Well, they're flirting with the idea of being a bottom 10 rushing attack. 25th in yards per carry, 20th in success rate per rush, 23rd in EPA, 19th in DVOA. This Vikings rushing attack has been trending in the wrong direction for weeks now. The reason that's significant in this matchup against the Bears is that's how you move the ball on this Bears defense. The Bears have a great pass rush. Their secondary is pretty damn good too. You got to run the ball on the Bears. They're 25th in yards per carry allowed, 14th in success rate. That's the weakness of this Bears defense, is stopping the run, and I don't know if I trust the Vikings rushing attack right now. Check this out. In weeks 1 through 4, they were averaging over 125 rushing yards per game, 4.8 yards per carry. Look at the numbers from the 6 games since then, down under 4 yards per carry. 31.2% success rate per rush is awful. Yeah, there's a couple tough run defenses in there. Detroit, Jacksonville's tough against the run. Tennessee's a good run defense, but I mean, you know what? Even the Rams have been playing some good defense against the run. Maybe they did see some tough defenses, but 31% success rate, that's really bad. Not to mention the Chicago Bears defensive front is completely healthy right now. They're still missing Brisker at safety. He's been out for a while. Also, they have another safety that's listed as questionable. I can't remember his name. Their third safety is listed as questionable as well. But as far as the defensive front goes, in terms of stopping the run, Bears are completely healthy here. So although the Bears do not have a reliable run defense, I don't really trust the Vikings to run the ball in this game. They haven't been running the ball much recently. Don't like the matchup. I don't know if I trust Minnesota to run the ball here, which definitely puts a lot of pressure on Sam Darnold to produce here on the road. So why don't we look at the matchup for him? Bears, 9th in zone coverage frequency. Sam Darnold does have better numbers against man, so that looks like a negative angle for Sam Darnold. The thing is, if you look a little bit deeper, you'll see the Bears run primarily cover 3, 5th most cover 3 in the NFL. Also a lot of single high safety looks. If you look at Sam Darnold's numbers against those coverages, actually a top 10 quarterback in the NFL against single high safeties. And check this out. Against cover 3, pretty damn good. 5th in completion percentage, 7th in yards per attempt, 11th in pass rating, 4th in big time throw rate. So although Sam Darnold doesn't have the greatest looking numbers in the world against zone coverage, the Bears run primarily cover 3, and he's got great numbers against cover 3. Sam Darnold struggles against cover 4 and cover 6, the deeper coverages. He likes to throw the ball downfield. So against teams that sit back in deeper coverages, Sam Darnold tends to struggle. Bears do run a decent amount of cover 4, but it's about 15.5% of their snaps. Not a ton of volume here. It's actually not a bad matchup for Sam Darnold. And check this out. If we look at passing depth here, you'll see the Bears are very strong against the short pass, 5th in DVOA against the short pass, weaker against the deep pass. Reason I'm bringing this up, Sam Darnold throws a lot of deep balls. 13.3% of his pass attempts are considered deep passes. And look at the bottom part of this graphic. He's pretty efficient throwing those deep passes. So there's going to be opportunities here for Sam Darnold to make some big throws. So overall, up to this point, it's looking like a pretty favorable matchup for Sam Darnold until we get here. And this is where I'm a little bit worried when it comes to Sam Darnold. We're talking about the Bears pass rush. They're 3rd in the NFL in pressure rate, 11th in pass rush grade, 13th in adjusted sack rate against a Vikings offensive line that's been struggling a bit in pass protection, 22nd in pressure rate allowed, 8th in pass blocking grade, 27th in adjusted sack rate. Now, Sam Darnold does have great looking numbers when blitzed. In fact, he's been one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL when blitzed. 6th in completion percentage, 1st in yards per attempt, 2nd in big time throw rate, 1st in passer rating. Like I said, one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL when blitzed. Not nearly as good when not blitzed. Here's the thing, Bears don't really blitz a lot. 21st in blitz rate, 3rd in pressure rate. The Bears are able to generate pressure without sending extra rushers, which is exactly how you give Sam Darnold problems. Not that his passing numbers when pressured are terrible, but he takes a lot of sacks. 30th in pressure to sack rate. Also turnovers, as I'm sure you know if you've watched Vikings games, turnovers have been a problem for Sam Darnold. So Bears pass rush definitely worries me here when it comes to Sam Darnold. And keep in mind, he's coming off back-to-back games against the Titans and Jags, two teams that do not generate consistent pressure. So on the road in Chicago against the Bears, pass rush should be definitely a wake-up call for Sam Darnold. So overall on this side of the ball, I gotta say, I don't really like this matchup for the Vikings offense. I don't trust the Vikings run game right now. Yes, Sam Darnold should have some opportunities to make some throws downfield, but he also should be under a lot of pressure. I mean, we could see some turnovers on the road here. So I really don't like this matchup for the Vikings offense as a whole. But now we look at the matchup on the other side, and this is where things start to shift towards Minnesota. Look at this graphic. Holy shit. Minnesota's defense, 6th in yards per play, 1st in success rate. Chicago offense, 31st in yards per play, 23rd in success rate. We're talking about one of the best defenses in the NFL against one of the worst offenses in the NFL, and that's not even exaggerating. Look at the graphic. Chicago's been struggling in pass protection, 23rd in pressure rate, 10th in pass blocking grade, 31st in adjusted sack rate. You can see here on the bottom left of this graphic, Caleb Williams is 39th in pressure to sack rate. He holds on to the ball. He takes a lot of sacks, 29.3%. He struggles when pressured, actually struggles with a clean pocket also. Look at the right side of this graphic. Minnesota, 1st in blitz rate, 7th in pressure rate, 6th in adjusted sack rate. That Vikings pass rush is coming, and by all the metrics we have, this should be a nightmare for Caleb Williams. And also, some of you might remember this from last week. If you remember, I said I like the Bears plus 5.5 against Green Bay because the Packers have terrible numbers against the short pass. They sit back in coverage. They give you the underneath throws. Caleb Williams, a very efficient thrower when it comes to those short passes. The Vikings defense is the complete opposite of Green Bay. They're one of the best defenses in the NFL against those short passes. 3rd in DVOA against the short pass. To throw the ball in this Minnesota defense, you got to go downfield, and that, I mean, look at the bottom left of this graphic. That has not been Caleb Williams' forte. His numbers when throwing the ball downfield don't look pretty. A 34.6 passer rating when he's throwing deep passes. I don't like this matchup at all for Caleb Williams. I don't like the matchup against the pass rush. I don't like the matchup against the secondary. I hate this matchup for Caleb Williams. And if you're thinking the Bears are going to run the ball in this game, I'm not so sure about that. In their last 3 games, they're averaging 4.2 yards per carry, which actually isn't bad. Success rate per rush is below 35%. That's against Arizona, New England, Green Bay. These aren't even tough run defenses. They're about to see Minnesota, who might be the best run defense in the entire NFL, certainly in the top 3 with Baltimore and Kansas City. Tennessee's in there as well. In their last 4 games, they're allowing 3.2 yards per carry as a team, 67.3 rushing yards per game. The Bears aren't going to be able to run the ball on Minnesota. Not to mention, it actually gets worse than that. Bears, 5th in gap concept, 5th in frequency in gap concept blocking schemes. Want to know who the best defense in the NFL is against gap concept blocking schemes? The Minnesota Vikings, 1st in yards per carry allowed, 1st in success rate per rush allowed. This is truly a nightmare matchup for the Bears offense. On paper, this is a terrible matchup. And it actually gets even worse than that because this Vikings defense is completely healthy across the board. All 11 starters are out there. I really hate this matchup for the Bears offense. I'm repeating myself right now, but truly, this is a bad matchup for Chicago, which is why when it comes to betting this game, I mean, I can tell you straight up, there's no way I'm taking the Bears here. It would only be Vikings. I'm a little worried about laying 3.5 on the road. I don't really like the matchup for the Vikings offense either, so I like the under at 39.5. It'll definitely be under. If the line touches 3, I'll play the Vikings at -3. I don't know if that's realistic. It did drop from 5.5 down to 3.5. Maybe it touches 3. I'm not really sure, but that's what I'll do here. I like the under, and if it touches 3, I will play the Vikings. So I'll play in the Vikings at -3. As of right now, just under or pass. I'll let you know what I end up doing on the live show Sunday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern time. We'll go through every single game on the board. If you're able to make it, we'd love to see you in the comments. If you want to go see all the bets I currently have open, head over to KyleKirms.com and click on open bets. You'll see all mine as well as everyone else on the staff here. Let's have ourselves a great NFL Week 12 here. Please remember to bet responsibly. Talk to you in the Discord.